Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. I don't even know if you're back here, but hey, just welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mary's Mind. I'm Mary, so welcome to the intrinsic world of my mind. And today, I definitely want to talk about victimizing yourself. Okay, I want to talk about playing the victim in your own life, and I want to talk about victimizing yourself. I literally just recorded an entire episode on Pretty Privilege that I will be putting out in another manner because I could feel myself wanting to talk about this in reality, but I was just putting it up because I had so much on my mind today. I don't have any notes on this. I'm just gonna straight up talk about my life experiences when I was playing the victim, when maybe I felt like other people were playing the victim, and overall how to get out of it. It is such a hard thing to get out of fight or flight and to get out of the survival mode. I don't feel like I'm always out of it. I feel like definitely when my anxiety's up, I can feel it in my shoulders. I can feel my whole body being tense. That's in periods of feeling stressed for sure, but it's also just kind of like a standard thing. And I definitely want to help people avoid getting to that point. Let's just get straight into it, okay? So, when I was thinking about being a victim, I think it always has to do with so much of what has happened to you in life. And I think it's always so interesting. Like when I used to talk to people about this, it would always be, I'd always stress that you cannot weigh pain, okay? You cannot compare your own traumas to anybody else's. You don't feel like the next person, even if you were in the same situation. You are entitled to your feelings, and how you feel is how you react. I literally, for the longest time in my life, I was lying to myself and I was keeping up a facade, and I was literally telling myself, you have the best life ever. What is there to cry about? Get your shit together and be happy. That's actually how my depression started. I did have a really good childhood. I'm very happy. I have two half siblings. I was brought up as an only child, and my parents did have financial struggles but would never let me know. From my understanding, from my experience in the world at an early age, everything was cool, everything was fine. Same with kindergarten, elementary school. I didn't have major issues, not that I remember. Obviously, some extent of bullying took place, and it was a very twisted situation. Even when I think about it now, like how people say kids are so mean, kids are so mean, yes, but it is also the dynamic that you put children in. I remember I used to be in a throuple, not even a throuple, a trio. Throuple is crazy. I used to be in a trio, and it used to literally switch from week to week, like who would be friends with who. And then it would be a constant backstabbing, and it would be such an intense dynamic for third graders. So much so that I used to have a guy, I don't even know what that name is in English, but just after school, the guys that take care of you. I talked to him and I'd feel very mature for my age, which he kind of agreed to. And he was like, you have to get out of here. Like, these people are not your friends. And he'd talk to me like this at fucking 10 years old, you know? He'd be like, these people are not your friends, and they're taking advantage of you, and you have to get rid of them. I remember that vividly because in that moment I was like, okay, there is something I have to definitely do to get out of the situation. But from my understanding, it never happened. And then thankfully, elementary school ended. So it was first to fourth grade, and that went on for 2 years. That was like my first very bad experience. Obviously, when I say it now, it's nowhere near to people that have, come on, like gone to war or have been mentally, physically abused. But you also have to understand that this is YouTube, and I'm not going to put out every last sensitive information of my life to have people be sympathetic and empathetic to me. So take it with a grain of salt. I am going to touch on things that I can touch on. I'm not going to touch on it everything. Just remember that that used to be or that was the start of a lot of insecurities for me. That was, I think that to this day like triggered the beginning of my anxious attachment style because of that toxicity, if you can call third graders that, but just from the understanding of how twisted it is to never know if there's security given, if there is somebody to rely on, if things are going to be the same. I think the constant change of it all just did a lot to me as a child. And even though I had a secure household, my parents were working their butt off. I was always very hyper dependent, independent, to an extent that I would take care of myself. I'd be home alone and then I'd be at school, yada, yada, yada. So that kind of like integrated into my life at a very early age. And then that's when I started having mad attachment issues. Because, no, not even attachment issues. I don't even know what the word right now is, but when you're scared to lose somebody. Okay. I used to be so scared to lose my parents at all times. I literally remember waiting after school for them to come pick me up, and I'd sometimes be the last person because they'd be working, and I would have all of the scenarios in my head where I'd be like, something bad happened to them on the way. This must have happened. They don't exist. It used to be so bad. Like, I had anxiety at a very young age. So I am very used to this shit. So I understand, okay? I used to have all of these scenarios in my head. It's over. I'm an orphan. I used to think this at fucking 10, okay? That kind of just continued to gain monument. I remember in third grade, something very shitty happened where it was like a misunderstanding. I think I rang the doorbell and my parents like answered, but the door didn't open. So I freaked out. I went into a nearby store. I had like called them. They didn't pick up because they were out looking for me already at that point. I ended up being at my friend's place because she lived down the street. And then I waited there and they literally called the police, were looking for me. And that was the first time I thought it's over. Like, it's literally over. That shit is scary. And I think a lot of that has to do with the patterns I have now. You know what I mean? And this is also what this channel is all about: self help, going on this journey, self medicating, going through all of the emotions. Like, this is something I haven't thought about in fucking 10 years or some crazy shit. I didn't know yet, but all of that was foreshadowing, because I don't even want to go into too much detail, but this is something I didn't have access to, okay? These memories for a very, very long time, because I don't like to think about it and I don't think about it, but I was talking to my boyfriend about it the other day, and that kind of gave me the access to it, that my mom was very sick, okay, for a very long time. And I'm getting emotional just thinking about it right now, okay? But I remember for like 4 years of my life, it would be hospital visits in and out, and it would be, um, like, I remember vividly, it was like when I was 12, I was gonna go to a birthday party, and my mom had a checkup at the hospital. So I accompanied her, and we went, and everything was cool. And I think she was just supposed to get her blood results or something like that. And then also, my mom's obviously Moroccan. She's a migrant, her German at the time especially wasn't the best. I think, yeah, that's definitely why I accompanied her. But then, like, something flipped, and I remember I was a child, obviously, so it was just like all of these adults are telling me now my mom has to stay. My dad was working at the time, so I couldn't get a hold of him, couldn't reach him, and I was the adult all of a sudden, because I had to take care of my mom, make sure she's straight and she can stay. And then I'm a child, so I'm thinking about the birthday party and thinking how to get there without missing it. And then I'm also like, wait, what's happening to my mom right now? So that was a very big part of my life for a very long time. And I don't like to think about it for obvious reasons. It's a trauma. But it changed a lot in me. It changed so much in me. That's when I started to realize that, like, death was kind of real, because thank God, luckily, I wasn't exposed to it for a very long time in my life. I was very shielded from it. But then when my mom happened, I was like, this is a real thing and it can be over any day now. My dad was doing his best. He did. Thank you, Baba and Mama, obviously. It was just a very, very, very scary time for me. And that really, yeah, it really manifested in my life, because I remember feeling like I need to grip everything, every person around me as strong as I can. I need to hold on. Nobody can leave. Nobody can, that is what happened to me afterwards, because literally whenever somebody, whether it be romantically or whether it be a friendship that ended, I would feel like people died. I would feel like it's the end of the world. I would feel like it is over. That all kind of dates back to really being exposed to a potential, I don't even want to say, okay? I don't even want to say it. You understand what I mean? I give myself credit right now for speaking about this because, bro, even my closest friends for years didn't even know this. So, as I said, it's something that I've recently thought about a lot and something where I kind of understood a lot about myself because then afterwards, I became, after my mom's situation bettered, or got better, I became the sunshine. Even throughout, I became the sunshine. I felt like when that happened, I didn't even cry or anything. I just felt like I had to step up. Like, all my mom wanted me to do was be good in school, do your thing, academics, focus, like, be good. Baba was working all day, so I was there left alone to take care of myself, which I did. That's when I kind of took over and I was like, I can't be sad. I'm not sad, you know? And then it has so much to do with transgenerational trauma that I understood later in life, now in life, when I see the atrocities that are happening in Palestine, for example. That brings up so much for me. I can feel it. I can really feel it. And it's like scientifically proven. You can look it up. I remember that I would just, later on in therapy, we discussed this a lot. This was the major reason, I'll get into it, why I went to therapy and all of that. I would take all of my emotions and shove them in the closet and just push, like put everything in there, close the doors, and that was it. I turn around and nothing was there anymore. And that was how I felt. So I felt anxiety for a long time, and I still do. But I didn't know what it was. Obviously, you get used to it. You know what it feels like. It's the unfamiliar, familiar feeling. I just framed myself as the sweetest, the nicest, which I was. I was the sweetest little girl, the sweetest little baby. Like, when I look at me now, I understand. Like, I was literally the fucking cutie that didn't care. Like I said, I didn't care about my looks. I didn't care about anything. I cared about a good time playing outside with my peers or whatever. But you never, like, there was no emotion. There was no sadness. There was no anger, nothing. And I felt this in my early friendships, like 5th grade, 6th grade. I could tell, like, wait, she just cussed me out. Why am I not mad right now? But I never questioned it to the full extent because I was 13. What do you expect? Okay. But basically, I had just shoved everything so far down that I wasn't capable of feeling anything else. I was always the happy one. I was doomed to be the sunshine. And when I had gone to the US, everything changed for me. Okay. I went when I was 15. And when you're so far away from home, living with strangers that do things differently, being surrounded by people that you're getting to know, a lot of emotions are triggered. Let me tell you that. I don't even want to go into too much detail about this either, but a lot of emotions were triggered. I had my first panic attack in the US, for example, and all of the feelings I had been neglecting and hiding for the past 2 or 3 years came up, but they didn't come up like you would maybe expect them to come up in a scary way. And I just like, "Arr," no, I felt numb. And when I started to feel numb, that was the first time I wasn't anxious. And when I wasn't anxious, that's when I knew something was wrong. Because don't get me wrong, like, I was a super happy child. I had a lot of friends, was always outside playing, I had a good childhood, like I told you. But it's different from how I remember, of course. Like, there's feelings when I remember. And yeah, like I said, stuff I can't get into, and things I don't want to be, that I don't want on the internet. But what I can tell you is already a lot. So, and then I was in the US feeling all of these emotions. And it's so interesting because when that numbness took over, I I was just that. I was just numb for a couple of months, and that's when I was scared, you know? I was really scared. I just wanted to feel something, anything really, because I wasn't able, yeah, to feel anything. And that's when I thought, girl, you really have to go to therapy. Luckily, I was already exposed to the idea of it because friends of mine had been going. So picked up the phone, called, um, made the appointment, and went. Literally, I kid you not. I started therapy September 2018. And I remember around January 2019, so how much is that? Half a year in, something like that. I went to France with a group of people. It was a work related thing. I came back, and obviously it was a bunch of us, okay, a group of us, like I don't know, like 15 people. You're not gonna get along with everybody. You're not gonna be besties with everybody. It's more than fine. I had this one guy that bothered me so much. His whole personality, his vibe, he was very looked down on me. I went to talk to my therapist and I was like, "Listen, I don't even know how I said it. What I'm getting at is the fact that I wasn't able to say whether I was sad, angry, or disappointed." My therapist got out a mood board that had all of the emotion in it. It has like a purple or blue section that is like anger, and then it specifies anger, frustration, and then sadness, disappointment, and it keeps going, and then happiness, excitement, being nervous. And I had to put my little dice or whatever, balls, whatever they were, on the words, how I felt. I couldn't tell her at the beginning of the hour how I felt. At the end, I had put my balls on so many things. I felt nervous. I felt anxious. I felt disappointed. I felt sad. That just really, like, now when I think about it, it's insane. I can be so proud of myself for nowadays being so clear of how I feel, being able to communicate how I feel perfectly fine. Like, therapy is really the shit, by the way, to anybody watching. That's when I first really experienced myself playing the victim, was when people left my life. Like, I think the first monumental time was when I was in high school and my major, so my hard friend group broke apart. I felt like this cannot be. I felt like my whole identity was scattered. I felt like everything that I had built for like the last 5 years was nonsense. It didn't make any sense to me. And that for the first time was when I put myself in a very, I victimized myself. Everybody is gonna leave me and this and that, which is fair for maybe the first month or so. But after a year, you have to get up and realize that those people left your life for a reason, whatever it may be. You have to find that out yourself. I was stuck in the cycle of thinking it was unfair how life treated me, how God treated me. And I still feel that way, a lot of times. Pointing out the obvious that something unfair has happened to you does not equal playing the victim. You can be a victim and still take control over your life. That is the major problem in today's society and today's idea of being a victim. You're only a victim as such if you surrender to the idea of that. Like, literally, the worst things can happen to you as a girl. I think everybody knows what I'm trying to get at. You can grow from that. You can exert yourself from that situation if you get out of it, hopefully, luckily. And then afterwards, you can be fucking mad, okay? You can feel how you feel, okay? In every scenario. In every scenario. But you do not get to give up on yourself. You do not get to let other people dictate how the rest of your life goes. I will tell you that much. That's when I started to wake up to myself and I realized, hey, I am a victim. This has happened to me. This is how God wrote my life. This person did this to me, and this person did that to me. But I am not going to be eternally scarred by that. And I am not going to build my life on top of the ruins of other people's lives. Whatever you got going on and whatever caused you to be the way you are is not going to influence me to become a bad fucking person. That really did it for me. And obviously nowadays I'm still stuck thinking everything is unfair and everything is bad. But like, the biggest reminder in this time to me is Palestine, Congo, Sudan, all of these countries. these quiet genocides that are going on are the biggest reminder to me that I am nowhere near being a victim. That has so much to do with it. Gratitude has so much to do with it. And it comes in ways that I make myself out to be a victim of somebody else. And there's a very fine line when you need to stand that ground of being a victim in a situation and victimizing yourself. Because all of what I'm talking about right now has to do with yourself and how you speak to yourself and how you treat yourself. It has to do with self image. I had to really step out of what other people did to me from an early age to now to understand that I am not going to let the rest of my life be dictated by it. It is so important. You do not consciously understand or take the time to understand that those things have happened to you and that a lot of bad shit is still going to happen to you. You're not going to be safe and sound for the rest of your life. And that can be very scary and that can be insanely intimidating. And then when I think about, of course, like I said in the beginning of the video, you can't and you're not supposed to weigh up anybody's pain with somebody else's, okay? Ever. If you make, for example, comparisons, I understand that. It's not about, for example, the person, it's about how it feels to you. That's why we all relate as humans. That's the community we seek within because we've all gone through trauma. The first trauma that all of us go to, that all of us forget, is birth because it is so traumatic to be brought up and to be taken out of everything that you've known, you know? And that just continuously happens in life over and over again. And I'm not going to sit here and say some people don't have a harder life than other people. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody's mental health is down. That's a fucking lie. And that's something that social media wants to portray. That's something nowadays that is trendy to be depressed. That's nowadays something that, oh yeah, because we're all on the spectrum. We're not. It's fucking cool to be healthy and to get help, okay? A lot of y'all need it. God knows we all need it in these times, okay? I'm getting a little emotional at all of this because I can see myself, my wounded self in this situation. I can think of so many people that were in my immediate circle. I can think of so many people in my immediate circle that have gone through so much that they didn't deserve. And I feel the world's pain. And we won this lottery. If you're watching this right now, you won the lottery of having an electronic device that other people dream of. I won the fucking lottery to be sitting here healthy and alive. So it always also comes down to perspective. It comes down to what you want. Do you want to be a victim? Are you going to be a victim until the end of your life? Or are you going to turn it around for the sake of yourself? What is your self image? Do you tell yourself limiting thoughts? Are you constantly telling yourself, I am a victim, I can't do this, I am not capable? Are you reaffirming that to yourself and hoping for things to change? That is not a good start for things to change. A good start is to reevaluate your life and your life's decision, because I promise you one thing: what other people have put on you is not your fault. It is not your fault, and there's nothing you could have done, but you're fine the way you are. And I hope you find healing from that, okay? I hope you find healing from that. And I hope you heal from things you don't talk to anybody about. It is so complex. It is so hard to get out of fight or flight. I haven't found the perfect response. I'm 21 years old, sitting here and going through my traumas with y'all, with random people on the internet. But we all have to find a way to cope. We all have to find our remedy to make it through, because guess what? The world is a fucking fuck place. But within that lies heaven and hell. And we have to find our position on this earth, in this life. Who do you want to be, bro? It's so intense because I am frustrated now because I can't get the time back that I spent playing a victim in my own life, not pursuing this. God's timing is always right, okay? I'm sitting here right now for a reason. I will be editing this for a reason, and you're listening to me for a reason. But life is precious. Life is extremely, extremely delicate. And it is the biggest blessing to live mindfully. And if you want to live and lead a mindful life that we're all not perfect in, nobody is ever going to be, okay? Promise. But I think the first step is to choose yourself. And if you want to choose yourself, you have to try to free yourself from the burden that are other people. Easier said than done, 100%. I'm not talking to a burn victim right now that got burned by their parents. I'm not sitting across from somebody that got attacked in the subway with acid and has lost their face. I'm very well aware of that. I'm very well aware of who you're perceiving right now. But we're all going through our own battles. We're all fighting our own demons. But that's just the fucking way it is, okay? You will not come across a person that is entirely happy. And just because I was keeping that up for so long, I have seen both sides, okay? I've seen a very scary side and a very beautiful side, and I will always choose the middle, okay? I will always choose the middle, and I will always choose to try to break out of the spiral that I put myself in by letting other people's choices dictate my life. Like I fucking said, I didn't go to therapy because of myself. I went to therapy because of other people. And that's the reality for most people. This was such an intense episode, you guys. I feel relieved, but also tense. I have to like meditate on this after this episode, but this felt so raw and real, and I'm proud of myself. And if you stuck with me till the end, thank you so much. Honestly, I hope you heal from the things you don't talk to anybody about. Like I said, I wish you healing, I wish you love, I wish you positivity. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time. I can't even talk. Sorry. Bye.